Hey Virgo. Um, oh, you need to hear this. I mean it when I say wow. Okay, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe if this lands somewhere real. Okay, now let's go. Uh, Virgo, the numbers aligned, not on a machine in a life. In the specific, unrepeatable configuration of circumstances and timing, and the accumulated choices of a person who kept showing up even when showing up produced nothing visible, who kept moving even when movement felt like standing still, who kept the faith with something, some direction, some instinct, some quiet knowing that had not yet justified itself in any external, measurable, pointed to as proof kind of way. The numbers aligned because the numbers were always going to align. This is the thing about jackpots that the mythology of luck conceals. They look random from the outside. From the outside, they look like a person in the right place at the right time with nothing to account for the rightness except fortune. But from the inside, from the perspective of the person watching the numbers align, feeling the specific quality of a moment when something clicks into correspondence, it almost never feels random. It feels more often than not like recognition, like, yes, this is what the long, unrewarded, keep going anyway period was leading toward. The jackpot was always downstream of the persistence, is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than you persisted. The numbers are aligning. Let's talk about what winning actually means when it happens in a life rather than on a machine. On a machine, winning is clean, defined, the symbols match, the lights activate, the number is specific and unambiguous, and there is no question about whether you won or what you won or whether the winning counts. The machine does not ask you to interpret the result, it announces it. Life wins are more complicated than that. They arrive in forms that require reading, in forms that could, if you were determined not to see them, be explained as something smaller than they are, as coincidence, as ordinary development, as the natural next step in a progression that has been building and doesn't necessarily mean what it feels like it means. The jackpot in your life right now is available to be explained away. This is the test embedded in it, not a test of worthiness. You are past the worthiness question. We are not revisiting it. It was answered by the persistence, but a test of perception, of whether you are able to see the win for what it is without the machine lights and the alarm sounds and the unambiguous external confirmation that what happened is what you think happened. Can you receive the win in the quiet, in the unremarkable Tuesday version of it, in the form it actually arrives in, which is rarely the form the imagination designs for it? That is the real question inside the jackpot. Something enormous is converging in your life right now across more than one axis. Not one thing, multiple things arriving from different directions with different textures and different timelines, but all converging on the same general territory, the territory of your becoming, of the version of your life that you have been moving toward with the particular patient, unspectacular momentum of someone who decided a long time ago what direction they were going and kept going in it regardless of the feedback the environment was providing. The environment was not always encouraging. It was not always providing the kind of external confirmation that makes continued movement feel logical. There were stretches, possibly long stretches, where the direction you were moving looked, from any objective outside vantage point, like the direction of nothing in particular, like persistence without payload, like someone committed to a route that had not yet produced a destination. The destination is becoming visible. Not in its full form, destinations rarely become fully visible until you are nearly upon them. But in the way of something that was always there, always the end point of the route you were on, always waiting at the end of the distance you were crossing, now close enough that the outline of it is legible, now close enough that the specific shape of it is distinguishable from the general horizon. You are nearly upon it. The love axis, because this is not only about material winning. The jackpot reading is richer than that. It contains multiple pay lines, and the love pay line is the one that carries the most emotional density. There is a person, there has been a person in the background of recent months whose position in the story of your life has been ambiguous, whose feelings have been legible in some registers and illegible in others, who has been present in the way that certain things are present, felt rather than announced, occupying space in your awareness without making formal application for that space. This person's numbers are aligning with yours, not through dramatic event, through the quiet accumulation of small convergences, moments where what they need and what you offer happen to be, in the specific configuration of right now, the same thing. Where the direction they are moving and the direction you are standing in happen to intersect, where the timing, which has never quite been right before, becomes gradually, then suddenly right. Timing is the variable that explained everything that seemed inexplicable before. Not indifference, not incompatibility, not the absence of real feeling. Timing, the specific, practical, sometimes maddening reality of two people whose lives were not yet arranged in a way that permitted the thing both of them could feel was possible. The arrangement is changing. The lives are reorganizing themselves, not through any single dramatic event, but through the cumulative effect of many smaller shifts into a configuration that creates space, room. The specific dimensional opening that a real connection requires in order to move from potential into actual. The opening is forming. Something is about to walk through it. The abundance axis, separate from the love axis but running parallel to it, connected at the root. Because jackpots rarely arrive in a single dimension. When something in a life reaches the alignment stage, when the accumulated work and timing and readiness and the specific configuration of what a person has become converges, it tends to converge across multiple areas simultaneously. Not because the universe is distributing bonuses, because the same internal shift that makes a person available for one kind of win makes them available for others. The shift in you, whatever it is, however it has been happening, in whatever private and unremarked way the most significant interior changes always happen, has been producing a different quality of presence in the world, a groundedness, a clarity, a way of occupying space that has changed incrementally from the posture of someone still negotiating whether they belong in the room to the posture of someone who has resolved that question in their own favor and is simply there, present, available, not performing presence but inhabited by it. That quality attracts corresponding quality in people, in opportunities, in the specific, sometimes inexplicable way that certain things start finding their way to certain people once those people have stopped making themselves difficult to find. Once they have become legible to the world, to the situations and relationships and financial possibilities that are looking for exactly what those people carry, you are becoming legible to the kinds of things that have been trying to find you. The jackpot finds the legible. What you need to understand about receiving a windfall of multiple good things arriving approximately simultaneously. It is destabilizing in a way that no one warns you about. Um, Not in the way of bad things. Bad things are destabilizing in predictable directions. They activate known responses, engage familiar coping mechanisms, move through the system along pathways that have been worn smooth by previous use. A person knows how to grieve, knows how to manage difficulty, has, after enough life, a practiced relationship with adversity. But multiple good things arriving at once, multiple axes of genuine winning converging in the same general stretch of time that activates something less practiced. Oh, something that produces a specific uncomfortable version of disorientation that is easy to mistake for anxiety. For the waiting for the other shoe to drop feeling that people who have experienced significant difficulty develop as a kind of armor against hope. The disorientation is not warning you. It is not the nervous system detecting threat. It is the nervous system encountering a volume and quality of good that exceeds its current calibration for receiving good. It is a capacity problem, not a safety problem. And the solution to a capacity problem is not to reduce what is arriving, it is to expand the container. Expand the container, not through effort or technique or the disciplined application of any particular practice, through permission, through the simple, radical, deeply uncomfortable act of saying internally to the part of you that has been calibrated for less more than this is allowed. I am allowed to receive more than this. The numbers are aligned. The win is real. The receiving of it is not hubris, and it is not tempting fate, and it is not the naive mistake of someone who doesn't understand that good things end. It is simply the turn of a wheel that has been turning in other directions for long enough, the arrival of a pay line that has been building across the entire length of the game. You are allowed to win. The thing about jackpots that the lights and the alarms exist to communicate, they exist because humans need external confirmation to override the internal doubt that says, this cannot be right. Something this good cannot simply be happening. There must be an error. Whew. The lights are not about celebration, they are about certainty, about making the win undeniable, loud enough, bright enough, public enough that the doubt cannot sustain itself against the weight of the evidence. Your life does not have lights and alarms. It has something quieter and, in many ways, more reliable, the specific body felt quality of recognition that arrives when something that was always supposed to happen is finally happening. The quality, not by analysis, but by the particular way it lands, by the way it feels simultaneously surprising and inevitable. By the way, your body, the one that kept the accounting all along, the one that was tracking the pattern before your mind was ready to name it, relaxes slightly, as if it knew this was coming, as if it had been holding a specific kind of readiness for exactly this and is now finally releasing it. Feel for that release in the coming days, in the moments when things arrive that could be explained as ordinary but land with a weight that ordinary doesn't carry. In the interactions that could be filed as routine but produce, somewhere below the filing, a sense of something shifting into alignment. The release is the alarm. The relaxation is the lights. Trust them. Here is the final thing. Jackpots are not the end of the game. This is the misconception that causes people to mishandle them, the belief that winning is a destination rather than a development, that the jackpot is the conclusion of the story rather than a significant turn in it, that after the numbers align, the game stops, and something called having won begins static, comfortable, requiring nothing further. The game continues. The win is not a resting place. It is a resource, a new set of chips, a replenishment of what was depleted by the long stretch of play that preceded the alignment. It is the universe returning to you in concentrated, sudden, hard to believe form, the investment of all the time and effort and sustained showing up that looked, for so long, like it was producing nothing. It was always producing something. The production was just not visible in the way that immediate returns are visible. It was accumulating, compounding, building the specific configuration of readiness and timing and alignment that produces the moment when the numbers match. The numbers matched because you played, kept playing, through the long stretches where nothing was paying out, through the stretches that would have sent a less committed player to a different machine, a different game, a different story about what they were capable of winning. You stayed at the table, and the table is paying out. Not to be taken and walked away from, to be played with new resources, new chips. The specific, earned, deeply yours abundance of someone who knows how to play because they played through everything that preceded this. Pick up your winnings, Virgo, all of them, across every axis where the numbers aligned. The love, the abundance, the recognition, the arrival of what the long game was always building toward. Pick it all up. And then play the next hand from this position with everything you just won.